Hello, Gemini, and welcome to Indigo Rising Tarot. Thank you so much for joining me today, and I hope you're having a great day. This will be your weekly reading for the week of April 12th through the 18th. And during that time, most of the week, we have a waning crescent moon, and that's a time when we're wrapping up those projects that we started way back at the beginning of the new cycle. So it's a really good time of calm and stability when we're being thoughtful and thinking about things, how we want to grow, how we have grown, what changed for us over this past cycle, and what we might want to be starting when that new moon comes up for us on the 17th. So, of course, a new moon is about a fresh start, new beginnings, good time to learn a new skill or start, any new projects. And if there's something left over from the last cycle, just tweak it, just give it a tweak and give it another start. If you weren't successful at it, that's what those new moons are for. So keep that moon energy in mind as we move through the week. This will be an intuitive general reading for energies that you may or may not encounter, Gemini. So as always, please take what resonates and leave what doesn't for someone else. And your overall message for this particular reading: a fiery climax approaches. All right, let's see what the Gemini collective has going on for the week. As I'm shuffling, my fun weekly reminder is that you keep a spiritual journal. So sometimes we kind of forget the things that we're learning or going through. And, I was just flipping through mine this past week, and I thought, oh, that's right, I was going to do this thing. This is always my thing, is to remind myself of the things I wanted to change or learn. The other thing is, I heard a podcast and the guy was talking about dreams. And of course, that's something I think should go in your journal. And he was talking about premonition dreams and how he has them 1 year before the thing happens. He'll have a dream. And I was like, well, that's fascinating. I've had premonition dreams, but they've never been that far in advance. They've usually happened either the next day or that week. They were usually pretty recognizable quickly. But anyway, keeping a dream journal might get you on the track of checking to see if you're having those types of premonition dreams. So, and if you've had those, drop me a comment down there and let me know. That's a conversation that is so interesting to have with others. So, all right, let's get into this reading. Gemini, April 12th through the 18th. A fiery climax approaches. Your present energy right now is the 10 of Swords. All right, so some sort of ending, something that you are done with. And it could just be mentally. You're just done. You're not going to think about it again. You're not going to entertain it. You're not going to participate in whatever reason. But it looks like it is some sort of fiery climax with some sort of ending that is approaching for you, or something that you might already know about. Your current situation right now is a Tower. So okay, this is looking like some sort of ending brought on by some sort of catastrophe kind of thing, a disruption. Sometimes these are big, sometimes they're not. It looks like this might be pretty big, or it's at least a catalyst to get you somewhere where you're like, well, I'm done with that. So let's see what might be blowing up for Gemini this week. At the root of your situation is the Ace of Wands. So some sort of passion, or maybe something that you're very passionate about, and there's just some big disruptor that comes in with that. So, it could be something that you care about a lot, and there's just some sort of disruption, some sort of tower moment, some that brings everything kind of to head. Or, sometimes it's just a delay. But this could be something about, when it comes to the Tower card, it's kind of a test, is the way I see these. You're kind of put through some sort of test, and maybe you're just tested and you decide you're done with something because of that test that comes through. In your recent past here is the Three of Wands. So Three of Wands is many times about travel or new ventures. So maybe you've recently come back from a trip, or something that's maybe kind of leading to something here. Maybe this trip was some sort of catalyst, that something came up on this trip, or there was some sort of delay or something on this trip that's kind of brought you to some sort of ending or something there. What is on your mind this week is the Death card. I mean, you're just getting all of these here, Gemini. So some sort of ending for sure. Something is ending, and it is a fiery climax, whatever it is. So, I think I would just, if I had a reading like this, I might be just peeking out of my door every morning, like, what's out there. So, things like this are just kind of a little warning. We were talking about premonition dreams, or And I always say tarot can't tell you your future. It can kind of guide you to the energies that you're about to encounter, but there's nobody knows the future, right? But it does look like there is some sort of ending and some sort of disruption here for you. So let's just be very careful. And whatever this fiery climax is, um, there it is. What can you do about it? Except experience it and maybe learn and grow from it, which is the reason we have these sorts of things. What is just ahead of you is the Knight of Pentacles. So some sort of action here on the financial front where maybe you just have to throw some money at something. If you have some sort of disruption, if you've got the money to fix it, then there you go. Sometimes if it's, you know, um, some of these disruptions can be just something, like the washer breaks, you just have to throw money at it, get it fixed, do whatever. But if it does seem like a pretty big disruption for you, and death, some sort of ending is definitely on your mind. So something for you to think about there. What is in your advice position is the Hierophant. So you might be seeking out some guidance. Of course, this is when prayer comes in handy, doesn't it? Is when you're like, my world is coming apart. It might be why you're at a tarot reading right now, So you're seeking out some sort of spiritual guidance, like, oh my gosh, this is crazy that this is going on in my life. What do I do about it? What you do is you face whatever it is head on with just straight ahead, and you deal with it and you manage it and you figure out what it is that you're trying, what is it the universe is trying to tell you? What does it want you to learn with this? Many times it's hard to really look at while you're in it. So just manage it, get through it. But then sometimes the week after, or even the week after that, you can look back and go, wow, you know what? It's a good thing I went through this crazy, whatever it was, because now I've learned how to manage this thing and I feel confident that it would not be a big deal if I had to encounter that again. Or, that you've taken care of something that was maybe a small problem that could have led to a bigger problem. And now because of this disruption, you've taken care of it, that it won't become a bigger problem, right? It's kind of that, just taking care of a small problem. So again, seek out that guidance. It might be why you're here. Maybe someone needed to hear that. If you did, let me know. But and seek out other guidance as well. There's lots of things out on the internet. There's lots of books to read. If you are going through a situation, so many people have already been there. And if you need those kind of words of wisdom, go seek those people out. And the other thing is just pray your way through this and ask, what is it that I'm supposed to be learning? Just kind of hand it over to the universe and ask, what do you want me? What do you want? What do you want me to learn right now? I'll learn it. So what is beyond your control this week is the 6 of Wands here, which means I think you are going to manage it and you're going to just kind of get an attaboy from somebody. There's going to be someone out there that recognizes, hey, I saw you get through that. I know it was difficult. Good job. You're doing a good job. That's all you can say. Good job getting through that. That was hard, and I witnessed that for you. So it's almost like someone else is watching you go through this, and they're going to understand. But I think they will speak up and give you those words of support that you're probably going to need. What is your secret desire, and what are you trying to avoid? Is the Ace of Pentacles, which is kind of, I don't know why these pentacles are coming up, but an ace is like a new financial opportunity. This is a new passion opportunity down here. So and well, I do know why they're showing up. And see how there's little clouds around these hands, um, and they're kind of gray clouds. And I sometimes imagine that that's the gray cloud from the tower moment, that sometimes out of these moments is here's a new financial opportunity, a new passion that comes out. Like, because positive things do come out of negative things. It happens all the time. If you think back hard enough in your own life, it has happened to you where and the big extreme is like, let's say that you break your toe and you're in the emergency room, and that's awful. That's a tower. That's a disruption in your life. Now you're sitting in the emergency room, and let's say that you're single and in your 20s, but you're in there with your broken toe, and you sit down next to this person, and all of a sudden you start talking to this person, and you either make a really good friend, or this is the person that you're going to marry. Like, you meet in the emergency room because of this tower. And it's like, well, thank God we were in the same place at the same time with this thing going on that was crazy, because look at this, beautiful relationship that is now for. So that's what I mean by good coming out of something bad. We just have to kind of let that smoke clear and see what comes out of the clouds. All right, in your outcome, Gemini, wow, Ace of Swords. Lots of new things for you, new ideas, new ways of communicating, new financial opportunities, new passion. So yeah, out of the abyss comes these new things. So go ahead and keep seeking out the guidance that you need. It's some sort of fiery climax, but it looks like it's a good thing. It needed to happen, and good things will come out of it for you. What is hidden from you this week? Oh, look, enjoying the fruits of your labor. Yeah, there's none of that this week for you, unfortunately. And I'm not laughing at you, I'm laughing with you. It's not that kind of week. It's not an easy week. And, I know reading tarot cards, I've sometimes you just get a reading like this, and it's not easy because every week in life isn't easy. And I've had comments, I had someone who was like, oh, I just couldn't finish it was just so negative. Well, and it's like, well, some weeks are like that. I mean, I don't know anyone's life who is constantly positive and rosy. These things happen. We have endings, we have death, we have towers, we have things that we're just done with, emotionally, mentally, and sometimes you just get a week like this, but guess what? This is hidden from you this week. It doesn't mean that it's hidden from you next week. So next week you may have a much rosier, I not you probably will. If you're having a difficult week, usually does lead to the reading next week is usually so much brighter. So I wish you luck with that, but I do want you to maintain the idea that something very positive can come out of something very negative. All right, let's get you a final word here from the Soul Oracle deck. Final message for Gemini as they go through whatever this is this week, this fiery climax that they have going on. Grieve your losses. Okay, grieve your losses, whatever this is that's ending. I mean, I think you have to just let it go, grieve it, and get over it, and let's move on. But again, look at what's coming out of the clouds there. All right, what do you need to do in the way of self-care? Self-care for Gemini this week. Self-care for Gemini, April 12th through the 18th. And the card that you get is the card called Focus. If you focus on what you don't want, there's a good chance you might get it. Focus on what you do want instead. And is that what some of this was? Have you been focusing on something that you didn't want so hard that you manifested it? Because we've all done it. If that's the case, of course, again, drop me a comment, let me know. But yeah, I think whatever this is, it's a difficulty that there's some positive things. I mean, you've got 3 aces coming out of this. The only ace that you don't have is the Ace of Cups coming out of here. Maybe that pops out on next week's reading. I also want to point out, sometimes I just see things in the cards that look at all of these cards on horses are marching to the right. So it's like they're moving along, they're moving along out of the picture. Yeah. Let's see if I missed anything else, any numbers. I don't see any numbers except for those. There is a 3 of Wands, and you do have 3 aces. So you might want to look up angel number 33, see if that has anything to do with what you have going on. So, all right, Gemini, thank you so much for being here. I hope there's something in this reading that you can take away and use in a positive manner. Again, try to keep on that positive side of thing. Make sure when you're manifesting things that we're not thinking negatively, because you can bring those things in, but try to just think more positively. So also, if you like my reading style, hitting like and subscribe, it really helps me. I appreciate that so, so much. Also, if you have any questions or comments and you're comfortable sharing, drop me a comment down below. Or if you have questions, I'd be happy to answer those for you. So once again, Gemini, thank you so much for being here. Good luck with all of this, and I will see you next week. Bye-bye.